today. What's going on, Lukash? What's going on, Chris? Good afternoon. How we doing? How's the lighting look on YouTube? We looking good? I think we're looking all right. Got some light coming in here, over here. Smash that retweet button, that like button. Let's get it going. Today we have one goal. One main goal today. So figure out StreamYard East, or whatever the heck it's called. But we currently have 0 people in the YouTube channel, which is not great. 1 person in the YouTube channel. Everybody retweet. Let's get it going. Thank you, Lukash, for retweeting. Let's get it going. Good morning. Good afternoon. Chris, what's going on, brother? What do we think we're going to do? 60 minutes, 90 minutes? What up, Brian? Smash our retweet button, that like button. Got a lot to talk about. First, housekeeping. I should probably tweet out the link to the YouTube. How do I do that? Oh, okay. I just take this, copy it. I think I just copy and paste here. And then live. Come holler. And then a YouTube bang. Boom. I hope that worked. I don't know if that worked. Who cares? What's going on, Ralph? All right. Did that link work, YouTube? Let's just make sure that worked. What up, Jason? What up, Ralph? Okay, the link worked. That's good. Are we worried about this? Yeah, that doesn't matter that much. How does this look? What? We got blankets in the background. That's okay. The vibe is still Christmas. Okay. What's going on? Let's get some beasts in the chat. Retweet. Haley, smash that retweet button. Jason, thank you for hitting retweet. Smash the like button as well, guys. Do it. We got 5 people in here. Shout out to them. We got 2 people on the YouTube. If you're on the YouTube channel, you're basically a beast. So yeah, go over there as well. The goal today, I don't know. We're going to set a goal once Lukash comes up here. But yeah, we're going to be going anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes, depending on, subscriptions and whatnot. But yeah, let's talk some Yankees baseball. And I actually came up with something pretty good idea, backup plan for Yamamoto. So we'll get into that. We also got Tommy DeVito. Hey! Tommy DeVito. Crazy game last night. So shout out to the Giants fans. I know Chris is a huge Giants fan. And we'll talk about that as well. We're going to make it run like Pat McAfee in here. But obviously the first and foremost, the most important thing is, you know what it is, the New York Baseball Yankees. New York Baseball Yankees. I'd like to hear from Lukash or Chris just to get a number before we get into the day. Lukash, I heard we went under 500. What happened?
Yeah, last night, I don't know what happened. It seems like these beasts turned into beta beasts or something. Because now we're back on Jimmy's road to 500 subscribers.
What are we at?
The whole premise of your stream yesterday was either Yamamoto or 500.
Yeah.
500.
Yeah, but how many are we at right now?
Let me go.
I'm there. I don't know how to. I don't know how to check it because I'm in my own. I'm like in my own YouTube channel, so I don't even know how to check it. It's. I mean, we got some. We're figuring out some stuff. Um, but we're also trying to figure out StreamYard today so that we can bring people up. Like it'd be cool if we had people. If we had, like Chris or Lukash also on with me talking, but also at the same time, I mean, New York Yankees baseball, doesn't matter where we are.
Right.
Sh-
498, Jimmy.
498. Is everybody in here subscribed to the YouTube channel?
We just need 2 of you.
That's okay. That's fine. We're not begging before we do the content. What is the goal for today?
Well, I think the goal is let's get a steady 500.
All right, yeah, maybe we'll just do 90 minutes of content today.
That's fair.
Oh, and guys on YouTube, like the YouTube and comment on it as well. But yeah, it was a weird day yesterday. Yamamoto, unfortunately, Yamamoto is meeting with like 6 other teams or something, so it's not great. But I do have a backup plan. I do have a backup plan, and I've been talking about this guy. His name is Imanyaga, who is the Shota Imanyaga. We're going to talk about him because I think he is the backup plan to Yamamoto. From obviously we remember him from the uh, World Baseball Classic. He pitched against the United States. He started against the United States in the championship game. Would you guys be okay with as the backup plan to Yamamoto? Let's throw that out on the. I'm throwing that out on the Twitter, obviously. 5 people in the chat. Shout out Beast. All right, we got it cooking a little bit. We got 50 people on YouTube. We got 60 people on Spaces, and we're gonna talk all day long. Shout out to Chris and Lukash, and obviously Aaron as well. Snell's gonna cost a lot of money, Brian, but possibly. People do not like the backup plan.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, Shota, he's 30. He's going to be another lefty. I mean, we already have Rodon. We already have Cortez. And, I mean, his numbers are amazing in recent years. But realistically, this should not be our backup. This should be a backup or insurance.
Okay. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. I probably should have got a guest or something for today, But we're working. We're working out the stuff.
We had Passan on.
We had Jeff Passan on this.
Yesterday.
Go ahead, Aaron. What's going on?
First off, congrats on your guys' win yesterday. I'm a Packers fan, so congrats to the Giants fans and your guys' big win yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, listen, thank you. I had $100 on the Giants plus 5.5 and 50 on Giants money line. So that's the reason why I was so adamant about winning yesterday.
Hey, money,
Exactly.
money, right? But I also wanted to say, I wouldn't even worry about Yamamoto meeting with other teams. It already was pre-planned. It's not like the meeting went south and he's wanted to go somewhere else. He had this pre-planned. He was planning on meeting with other teams, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, for sure. But also at the same time, you have to have a backup plan just in case the Giants say, hey, here's $350 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they also threw a lot more money at Aaron Judge.
That's true, but that was also like if the Aaron Judge. Oh no, we got a. I was gonna say we got a hair sticking down. But Aaron Judge was like the plan for the Yankees. If they didn't get him, that would have been a huge miss on their part. Wow, we got 60 people on YouTube Live. Go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
Maybe Yamamoto is the plan for the Yankees, and this is what they've always been wanting to do: is Yamamoto and Juan Soto. So maybe that was their plan all along.
Could be. Shout out to everybody in here. Smash the retweet button and the like button on the spaces. Shout out to Big Slick. Big Slick just did that. Like it as well. Big Slick, you are up, sir. What's going on, brother?
Not much is going on, guys. I was going to ask a question. I saw Bowden, the guy who Bowden Network says that the landing spot would be the Yankees for Yamamoto. What do you think? Is he credible enough? I know he used to be a GM of baseball.
He's extremely credible, but also at the same time, we do know that he's taking other meetings. So, you could be the most credible person in the world, but also at the same time, it's tough when, we let's get the beast chat in the YouTube. It's tough because, when you're meeting with other teams, you can be as credible as you want. Chris is saying, ask if you guys are subscribed. Are you guys subscribed to the YouTube channel?
No, but I'll go on the link.
Yeah, smash that. Smash that. I'm gonna put it up here. Smash that subscribe because Chris is part of marketing department and he needs to. Yeah, that's important. Shout out to you guys. Let's see. Let's get Chris going. Aaron, you're obviously subscribed, right?
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Chris, what's going on, brother?
Guys, wanted to get that point in. Make sure everyone subscribe. You too, as people just subscribe to what they're going to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. I should ask them if they subscribe. I'm not going to ask Cole that, though, because that's not. But we'll bring up Cole in a minute. Do you guys know what I'm wearing right now? We're ready for this? Boom. Vintage 1996 World Series champion Yankees. New York Yankees baseball. You see that sweater? Woo!
Good luck right there.
That is some decent luck. Shout out to everybody in here. Appreciate the 7 reposts. Don't forget to like the space as well. And Chris, shout out to Chris. Shout out to Lukash. We're in it for the long haul. We'll do I'm going to call it a 90 minutes. I might have to take this sweatshirt off, though. I'm getting a little hot, to be honest, already. But yeah, Big Slick. I mean, Bowden is obviously knows, but also at the same time, when you're meeting with other people, you can question everything, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I agree. I have a feeling. I feel like they're going to go. I know it's hard to believe that the last couple of years, this is giving me vibes for the 08 all-keeper going into 09 when they just threw the bag at Burnett, CC, and Teixeira. So I'm hoping that's what happens because I think if we get in with what we did with Soto, I'm feeling much better where we are.
Absolutely.
Soto feeling better, but
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody in the YouTube studio, just like the video as well. I think that helps. Talking to my YouTube guy, we got to get the likes going up on there as well. Let's bring up the man, the myth, the legend, Cole Seam. Cole, let's go. What's going on, brother? How are you? Mr. Cole Seam, how are you, sir? Coley. He's not there yet. Oh, Depressed is here. Depressed. What's going on, brother? Depressed, you there?
I'm there.
What's going on?
That's what's up.
We're just waiting. We're going to talk Yamamoto, Tommy DeVito, other Yankees talk. We can take it any which way you want. What are you thinking?
Personally, I still think Yamamoto's a Yankee.
Yeah, I do too. I do as well. I do assume.
The way it looks like we got Pete Simonetti saying.
Who?
Looks like Pete Simonetti.
Who's that?
you know who Pete Simonetti is?
No.
And
He's NY underground, dude.
I don't know who that is.
anyways, he's been saying this is what the you know who Mario Lopez is or Mario Gomez? Yeah. The Yankee fan Mario?
Yeah, Mario. I had him on my show before. Yeah.
He was saying Mario and him are good friends. Anyways, long story short is there's stuff that that's coming out that Yamamoto's agent is saying go to the team that you want to go to. Don't go for the money. Go for what team that you want. And personally, I don't think he's going to want to go to the Dodgers because that's Ohtani's team. He's not going to go to he's going to go to the Mets team because that's Senga's team. He's not going to go to the Red Sox because that's Yoshida's team. So, and what Japanese player do the Yankees have? No one. They have no one. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think personally, Yamamoto will get not as expected. He'll probably get around the 300 mark, but I could see still how the Yankees swoop in and say, hey, can we lower the AAV and stuff like that and just do a backloaded contract maybe? I could see that because I think they already know that they need to extend Soto and they need to go after more players. I could still see some shit go down. There's no way in doubt. Personally, I know people are going to say that's not going to be possible, but you know what? Like I just said, his agent said, go after the team that you want and don't worry about the money.
Yeah, of course. But it's sure. I mean, listen, of course. I mean, obviously, I know Mario is one of the biggest Yankee fans in the world. I don't know who this Simon guy is, but I will say, like, obviously, it sounds like they're huge Yankee fans. So yeah, I mean, of course, that's going to be the news coming out of there. And I'm not saying, listen, you can be as plugged in as you want, but the fact that you know that if a guy is going to another team, go to talk to another team. Listen, I could be the biggest Yankees fan in the world, and the Yankees could call me, but also if I'm taking meetings with the Dodgers and the Giants, it could be posturing. It could be posturing, but also at the same time, we don't know until anything's signed. But no, it is a good point, and I'll have to find this guy and talk about him. But yeah, here we are. I DM'd Tommy before because we don't have the StreamYard up on YouTube. I want Tommy to come up. I DM'd him to see if he would talk about the Giants today. Hopefully he's, maybe he's on his lunch break or not. But shout out to Tommy G who's in here. Huge win for the New York Giants. We're losing subs. Lucas, wait 1 second. Lucas, how many subs we at?
497.
How are you losing subs?
Come on now. What is going on?
Tommy,
what's going on, brother?
What's up, everybody?
How we doing, sir?
Good. How we doing on this wonderful afternoon, everybody?
We're doing good. This is, you're obviously, more of a YouTube guy than me. So we're trying the YouTube live stuff. We're just trying to build, you know how it is over here. And but let's talk about the New York Football Giants. Retweet the space, Tommy, so that they know that you're on here, because obviously every single Giants fan wants to hear your thoughts on the New York Football Giants. So that would be huge if you can just smash that retweet button, because when it comes to New York Giants, you are the guy that needs to be talking about it. So if you could just smash that retweet button, okay. We got all right, perfect. All right, let's talk about the New York Giants right now for a minute. First and foremost, obviously a huge win yesterday. I was just talking about how I had, a unit on the Giants plus 5.5 and a half a unit on the Giants money line. So I was really excited. Obviously, it's nice to see a nice Italian guy win some games. Yeah, just your initial thoughts on the DeVito gate, anything from his agent, or just take it away. How you feeling about the New York Giants today?
Yeah, listen, let's kick it off. Just 3 short weeks ago, this New York Giants team was arguably the worst team in the NFL. Blowout after blowout. Lost quarterback one, lost quarterback two, lost Andrew Thomas for 7 games, loss after loss after loss. They had 2 one-yard losses. They went up to Buffalo, played an inspired football game, lost on the 1-yard line on a blown call. In the Battle of New York, they had a 99.2% probability to win with under a minute left, lost the game. Credit to this coaching staff pulling his team up by the bootstrings, 3 straight victories. They take an undrafted free agent, rookie quarterback in DeVito, 0 turnovers the last 3 games, 100-plus quarterback rating the last 3 games, and most importantly, 3-0. Credit goes to this coaching staff, Brian Dable, Wink Martindale, Mike Kafka, for not letting this ship sink, not letting the players drown. You saw the media starting to get into the locker room, starting to sense cracks in the foundation, people wanting to tank. You know who didn't want to tank, though, Jimmy? This head coach, this quarterback, every player on that football team. So first and foremost, credit to the coaching staff. Now let's get on to Tommy D. This kid has rice balls of steel. You saw him last night, game on the line. He hits Wan'Dale Robinson for 30-plus yards down the sideline. Nothing phases Tommy DeVito. Doesn't matter if he gets sacked. The kid got sacked 15 times in his last 2 games. What does he do after every sack? Gets right up, answers the bell. And that's what we didn't see from Daniel Jones when he was in there. Those sacks affected Daniel Jones. They wore Daniel Jones down mentally. This kid, Tommy DeVito, is tough mentally. He can make the deep throws. You saw last night he's got some serious wheels on him when he goes running. I would love to see him slide instead of lowering his shoulder, but he has some serious wheels. I don't know what's going to happen with DeVito down the line. Obviously, QB1, you got to see a lot more from him, but this kid could be a legitimate NFL backup. Reminds me a lot of Gardner Minshew. It's not going to wow you all over the field, but when it comes time to answer the bell, he's there. He's tough, can make all the throws on the field, can beat you with his legs, can avoid sacks. This Giants offensive line was the worst offensive line by a mile 3 weeks ago. He takes 0 sacks last night. You go look at the PFF grades for this Giants offensive line last night, still one of the worst rated offensive lines in the NFL. He took 0 sacks. This kid's special. We'll see how special he is. But like I said, first and foremost, credit goes to this coaching staff, the captains, the leadership group. The New York Giants are back this season. They're only 1 game out of the wild card race. Obviously, 2 huge games lie ahead when they play Philly, but got to go and beat New Orleans on the road this week. I'm happy. I think the Giants have the right coaching staff. Might have to make a few tweaks. What are they going to do at quarterback 1 next year? You know what? Who cares right now? Ride the Tommy DeVito wave all the way. Super stoked, super pumped, and I think we've just seen them scratch the surface. I think this Giants team got a couple more upsets in them.
Absolutely. Wow. That to me. Listen, and we're only a game out of the playoffs now, right?
Absolutely. 1 game back.
It's incredible. Sometimes talent wins out, and other times, listen, even Dable was saying, that when he looks back at practice, what Tommy DeVito's seeing, Chris, I'll get you in a second. What Tommy DeVito is seeing usually comes back on tape, and it looks exactly like what he's talking about. So obviously can read the field very well. And realistically, it's a huge W for the New York Giants to, show that they can win football games. It's disgusting when you're in the top 5 of the NFL draft. And realistically, right now, the Bears brass is saying, I don't know why he's crying, but the Bears brass is saying that they're going to take Caleb Williams, and that's the guy that I want if I were the Giants. So after that, it really doesn't matter. When it comes down to it, it really doesn't matter.
Absolutely. And you also, Jimmy, not for nothing, you could see a scenario where DeVito does start the season in 2024. You don't know if Jones is going to be healthy. Last week he said, hey, I'm aiming to get back for training camp. That's great to say. It's great to hear. You don't know that. Tyrod's not coming back. He's a free agent. you could see, especially if DeVito continues to play like this. Listen, if DeVito could beat the Eagles on Christmas Day, there's going to be insanity. You want to talk about insanity with the Knicks a bunch of years ago? This is going to be insanity if he could beat the Eagles, and he might be able to take this starting job. That's leaps and bounds away, especially with the Giants dropping in the draft order. And then I wanted to touch on that too. Listen, I have nothing against fans that want the best draft pick. I'm a draft guy. I'm a draft junkie. My favorite part of doing analysis and covering the Giants, honestly, is draft time. But you have to understand, if Joe Shane, Brandon Brown, this front office fall in love with a quarterback and they identify their guy, they're going to go get him. You got 2 second-round picks. That second-round pick you got from Seattle in the Leonard Williams trade is starting to skyrocket. They've lost, I believe, 4 games in a row now. The Giants have enough collateral if they want to make a move to go get a quarterback. Now, is that ideal because you're giving away valuable assets? Obviously, the roster still needs a ton of work. No. But look at those players last night. Look at those coaches last night. After everything they've been through this season, 4 blowouts, 2 one-yard losses, injuries all over, look at the smiles on their faces. That's development. That's progress. That's building a winning foundation. And that's what the Giants have been doing the last 3 weeks, Jimmy.
Amazing. It looks like Chris, let's go to Chris Nieves first. Chris has a question for you. Let's go to Park Street Chris first, because Chris K is going to be in here for a while. Chris, what's going on?
All right, so everybody here knows me outside of Tommy, so, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I'm going to be one of those guys today, and I'm usually not.
What's up, Chris? Nice to meet you, brother.
Pleasure, brother, and I'll be following you right after this.
Likewise.
And I agree with, and I'm glad you touched on the whole draft position because that's what I was going to touch on. I'll say this: I love the way Joe Shane drafts. I think some of the kids that he drafted this year are just showing up. I'm not going to oversell this, but they draft very well. But my problem with winning, and I want Tommy DeVito to show out, but I just don't want all the wins because let's just say. We maybe beat New Orleans and we pull off an upset on one of the Philly games. Obviously, that would drop us from the draft position, and there will be only so much movement to do to go up and get a quarterback. Now, I know we have 2 second-rounders now, and Joe Shane seems like he's a very, very, very knowledgeable GM, so he'll be able to make a move if there's a move there. But if there isn't a move there, if somebody begs us for this, that, and the third, and we're not able to make that move, now we're kind of stuck with, maybe a good old lineman, which obviously we need. But my issue is now we're going to be stuck with Daniel for 1 more year anyway, but we're just not getting that replacement for the year after. Now, DeVito, and I agree, I hope kind of DeVito starts next year maybe. I'm just not so sure on winning right now being our best bet.
Can I interject just for 1 second, though? I think what this does, and I'll swing it over to Tommy afterwards, and Chris is honestly great. He's probably the most positive Yankees fan in the entire world, so he is just playing devil's advocate here. But I just want to interject for a second because what winning does right now is it's building a culture for free agents, and I'll let you speak to it more about it. But I think what Tommy DeVito just did is he's proven that he can be a backup quarterback, and the allocation of resources under the construct of a salary cap is going to help. I don't know, Tom. What are your thoughts?
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Go ahead.
I want to touch on that. So a couple years ago, we weren't like that ideal situation with free agents. That's over with now. Just to go back to Edelman before the season, Gronk before the season, if they were to come out of retirement, it would be play for Dable. Players love Dable, so we don't have to sell that anymore. That's not something you have to sell. Like, we're a good team. Our future looks good. We have the coach. We have the GM. We got a lot of the pieces. I think a lot more pieces than people think. But again, it's like you're messing up that next step.
Yeah, but again, 3 weeks ago we were talking about firing Dable.
No, not we. Those are dumbass fans.
Okay, fair.
Those are dumb fans. I was not one of those guys, and I won't be we see yesterday, it's not all on the line because you can get an undrafted guy with a horrible line to make the plays. It was really the quarterback. And I would give a little bit to Kafka as well. I'm not so sold on Kafka. Like, I feel like some of his play calling is bad. I don't want to keep ranting here, but I will say I think getting a better quarterback and maybe Kafka, a replacement there, is all I want.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, let me touch on this. You know what, Chris? I don't fully disagree with you there. I think, especially a few weeks ago, almost every Giants fan would agree in unison. Daniel Jones is not the answer, not the franchise quarterback. The best answer would be to get one of the top quarterbacks, whether that's Williams, May, Daniels, whoever it is. But let me say this. To me, 1A, 1B, most important for an NFL franchise is a franchise quarterback and a coaching staff that could develop their players. You see right now what's going on with Justin Herbert in San Diego. Phenomenal franchise quarterback. They can't win because they don't have the coaching. What Brian Daboll has showed you, Mike Kafka, Shea Tierney, whoever you want to dole the credit out to and split, is they could develop quarterbacks. They got the best career season out of Daniel Jones we've seen, a turnover-free season, which was virtually impossible with Daniel Jones prior to this regime taking over. They've taken an undrafted free agent rookie in Tommy DeVito. He's 3-0. He's playing lights out. Granted, he's not putting up the biggest stats, but he's not turning the ball over. So one solace there, Chris, one positive is this. If the Giants do say, hey, we're going to trade back up in the first round, and we're going to take whoever it is, Penix, McCarthy, whoever name you want to put, this coaching staff is going to get the most out of that quarterback. You can't go back now. You can't take back those victories. You're not going to be in the top 2 or 3 picks, but you have a coaching staff that can develop that quarterback and can run a good, functional offensive system. So, while it sucks that they're not going to get one of those top 2, 3 guys, you take some solace in the fact that whoever they take, and I do think the Giants take a quarterback in this draft, whether that's moving back up in the first, second round, they're going to get the most out of that guy and potentially turn him into a franchise quarterback. So I do not think it's top 3 draft pick or bust. I think they could take a guy, they could develop him, and you could see a scenario where this team wins a Super Bowl within that offensive system. So take the wins. We'll see what happens in April. I don't disagree with you, but let's see what happens. Let's see them draft their own guy. Might not be top 5, but let's see them draft their own guy, reset that internal clock for the coaching staff, and see what happens.
Yeah, let's swing it over to Chris K for 1 second, because he's head of the marketing department over here. So, Chris, what's going on?
Yeah, I love Chris K. Chris K is my boy.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off Tommy's point. Tommy's my guy. He knows it. But I'm Wandale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, Isaiah Hodgins are also playing a lot better with Tommy DeVito. The guy is showing a lot of swagger. He has guts, throws the ball downfield. What's there not to love about him, really?
Absolutely, man. Wandale Robinson. Look, I wasn't a huge fan of the pick when it happened. I like George Pickens, like a bunch of Giants fans. But what Wandale Robinson showed last night is that he will be a dual versatile threat for this offense going forward. You can give him the ball out of the backfield, whether it's jet sweeps, screens, straight up handoff, and he got open downfield vertically. That's huge for this Giants offense. I do think they need another receiver. I really do. I like Hyatt, like Wandale. Hodgins has popped back up again after a slow start. But listen, you got a kid in Wandale that fits today's NFL offenses perfectly. You don't know where he's going to line up. You don't know where he's going to strike from. Yes, he's small. Yes, he takes some big hits. But he was the key catalyst in the Giants pulling that game out last night.
Heck yeah. Lucas, what's going on?
Listen, I'm not a Giants fan, so this is going to be my complete unbiased take here. I think the Giants are back to where they were when they signed Kenny Galladay. You guys are one wide receiver away from fully unlocking Tommy DeVito, in my opinion. He's had one game this season where he's thrown over 200 yards, and that was against the shitty Commanders defense. Last night, he's thrown 158 yards, but he has a QBR of over 100 for the past 3 games. I think that's enough motivation for Daboll and company to really look at DeVito and be like, okay, we have something here. And obviously, they're definitely not going to make DeVito DeVito a starter next year. They still signed Daniel Jones to that contract. But if, Daniel Jones has the same season as he does this year, I think without a doubt they're going to have DeVito ride out for next year. And also, Wandale Robinson, beautiful for a wide receiver too. And once you guys sign that big wide receiver one, that's a beautiful defense with with Barkley, Waller, Wandale, and potentially that wide receiver one. Maybe get Devontae Adams from the Raiders. He's uncomfortable there. He doesn't like it there. You can get something nice there and see where that goes.
Before we answer here, Lukash, we only have 4 people on the YouTube right now. Give the people a thought right now. Let the people know.
Listen, guys, we're struggling here on YouTube. We've been at 500. Now we're back down to 497.
Man, we're losing subscribers? Come on, guys.
I see a lot of Giants fans that were not here yesterday, so let's all.
That's good.
So we're getting new faces here. Eli, Jasmeet, let's subscribe to the Jimmy Randazzo show on YouTube. Not only can you watch this space, you can listen to the space here. You can even watch Jimmy talk on YouTube.
I think that might be the biggest issue is they have to look at my face when they go over there. But just subscribe to the channel. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to figure out a time that Tommy and I can talk on the YouTube live, and then we'll answer questions on the spaces as well. Again, we're just figuring out what to do over there, and we're not going to stop. So that's definitely. And I think what we're thinking of, especially for the Giants, we're going to try to get Tommy on once a week to talk Giants football because he is really the most knowledgeable Giants guy, and we had such a great time with him on. And even my brothers were like, "Damn, when you had him on the Jimmy Randazzo show, he was so great." So we're going to try to figure out something to have him on every single week because he's a superstar in the making.
Before Tommy goes, he's also a big Yankee fan. Let's share his thoughts on Yamamoto, if he doesn't mind.
Yeah, listen, let's do this, right? So, what has been the talk for the last 5-10 years, right? The Yankees aren't the Yankees anymore. They're too worried about the luxury tax. They're too worried about coming in under. This is not the George Steinbrenner Yankees. But what they showed you so far this offseason is they're willing to make moves, right? They're willing to be aggressive. They're not going to just sit back and play coy and hope guys develop. The Soto deal was a huge deal for me. I do think they bring in Yamamoto. I really have a lot of confidence around that. I think that they're going to be super aggressive this offseason, right? You got the guy from Boston. Excuse me, his name escapes me. You got Soto. They're going to get Yamamoto. Listen, the Yankees missed the playoffs last year. I think it was the first time in 7-8 years they missed the playoffs. Not going to happen next year. Still need some pitching, right? Still need a couple of key pieces. But I love the fact that they were aggressive. They went after Soto. They traded some key pieces. They pushed their chips to the table. You got Aaron Judge in his prime. You still have Stanton. You hope he can stay healthy. You hope he can get hot. We all know a hot Stanton is one of the best offensive players in all of baseball still to this day. You got Volpe. Hopefully he can continue to develop. But I love the aggression. I love the concerted effort to push those chips to the table and go after it this season. You can guarantee the Yankees are not missing the playoffs this year. How far do they go? That's going to be the question, but I love the aggression so far, and they will get Yamamoto. Mark it here.
Awesome. Everybody, I put up the link on the YouTube on the space. If you go above my my profile picture, click on the YouTube link and subscribe to the Jimmy Randazzo show. We have 20 people in here. We have 2 people on the YouTube live. Again, I get it.
2 more subs. Just 2 more, you guys.
Well, whatever. No, we need 4,000 more. But also at the same time, yeah, we have to get that going. I understand, but I promised myself. I said, listen, I'm going to go on YouTube as long as I'm going on Spaces because we need to build. We need to build. So let's go. Let's go. Chris, what's up?
Well, no, I wanted to get Tommy's take. He's very knowledgeable, and I already followed you, Tommy.
Thank you, brother. Likewise. I think I followed you back likewise.
Appreciate it, brother. So I'm biased here. My stepson plays for Saquon Barkley's youth football team. I live 5 minutes from Whitehall. I'm biased here. I know the guy. I love the guy. But what do you think we do with Saquon? I mean, me personally, I give him the bag. But again, I'm biased. What do you think after the season? What do you think we do with Saquon? Do you think we just try to franchise tag him, or do you think they work something out there?
Yeah, to me, this is one of the toughest questions. I'll tell you what I don't want to see. I don't want to see them apply the franchise tag. I don't want to see that whole rigmarole play out that played out last year where, Barkley's saying things in the media, Joe Shane, everybody's getting mixed up, the dirty laundry's getting aired out there. I do not want to see that. In my opinion, you either give him the bag, you either give him, let's throw it out there, 3 years, $40 million, $20 million guaranteed, just throwing a rough number out there. Make the decision. Don't drag this thing out. If you want to let him go, I understand running backs in this day and age, that running back one classic, tons of carries every game. That's played out. That's not happening in the NFL. You've even seen it over the last 3 weeks for Barkley. I mean, he's been super hot. He's averaging over 5 yards per carry the last 3 games going into last night. And not a single one of those games did he have over 20 touches. So you see that utilization dwindling. And that's just the fact of what it is. But I will say this. This is a very unique circumstance with the Giants and Saquon Barkley because they do not have that franchise quarterback. They do not have that stud number 1 wide receiver. They have question marks at tight end. And when it was at its most bleak this season, when it was looking horribly bad for the New York Giants, Saquon Barkley was the one guy that still produced, was the spark plug on the offense, was the one guy you still said, you know what? They're probably going to lose today, but I'm tuning in. I want to see what Saquon Barkley does. I'll say now, officially, right now, I am on board with them giving him a contract. Hopefully, Barkley and his representatives, whoever he's going to use for this, whether it's Rock Nation or the other agency he was using, let's play this thing out fairly, professionally. If you want to stay a New York Giant, I'm all for you knowing your worth. I'm all for you knowing your value, but understand the circumstances around this and the dynamic when it comes to franchise-type running backs. I would say sign him or just let him go. Don't play this out. Don't drag it out. Don't try to franchise tag him. I'm on board with him coming back, especially if you're potentially looking at next season starting a rookie quarterback to start the season or starting a Tommy DeVito to start the season until Jones gets healthy. You need that offensive playmaker. You don't have the wide receiver 1. You don't know what's going to be with Waller. What was the biggest knock on Waller when the Giants traded that 3rd-round pick is he can't stay healthy. What happens this year? As soon as he starts to play well, boom, he goes down. So you can't bank on him being tight end 1 next season. You hope, you cross your fingers. So if you're going to let Barkley go, you're looking at a scenario where obviously don't have a QB1, probably don't have a wide receiver 1, probably don't have a tight end 1. You have an offensive line that's up in the air. They play slightly better. Still a ton of question marks on that offensive line. But the one mainstay you do have is Saquon Barkley.
I agree wholeheartedly, and I want to touch on this real quick before I let the next person go. I think Danny getting hurt kind of raised Saquon's argument because, like you just said, I mean, he was a little rough in the earlier parts of the season. The numbers weren't there, but then Danny goes down and it's he starts to go wild. He's picking the team up, so it just goes down. I don't want to see anybody. Obviously, our team, but Danny went down and he starts to pick up the production. I think that kind of helps his argument going into this, and I agree. I don't think they should franchise tag him. I think either you make the contract or just say, hey, listen, well wishes, wish you the best. But either way, don't franchise tag him. I agree.
Another quick point, just to touch on that is, sorry, Jim.
No, not at all.
Another quick point is, what is your alternative, right? So you go out and you draft Eric Gray in the later rounds in this draft. Doesn't see much of the field. They put him at punt returner. Everybody that was there for camp and attendance, including myself, we all said this guy cannot be the punt returner when the season starts. What happens? You have the rookie running back returning punts, fumbles multiple times, gets hurt, doesn't even get a chance to develop as his position of running back. When he was in there, I didn't see much. So are you ready? If you're Joe Shane, Brandon Brown, Brian Dable, to say, hey, Mr. Eric Gray, we know you're a second-year running back that missed almost your whole entire rookie season. Here's the keys to the offense for running back. You're going to start, right? You don't have many options, right? I don't know. You pull up with Deshaun Corbin from the practice squad and let him get reps in camp. There's not many other options there. Nobody has stepped up. Breida, he's a veteran running back. He runs hard. He doesn't have much left. Let's be frank. He's not a game breaker. Doesn't have a lot of these two. So,
Yeah, I mean, this is my thought process on the whole Saquon Barkley situation. I mean, it's so fluid because obviously we saw how important he was to the team yesterday. Like he was so huge and important to the team, but also at the same time, I personally think, and I know this is messed up, but I personally think that franchise tagging him is the best move. I know that that's a messed up thought process, but really right now he's our most talented player, and they're like you can go out and draft a running back and keep on drafting running backs. I know it's messed up, and I know this guy deserves his bag, but also at the same time, I don't know if he deserves a 3-year, 4-year contract because his team's championship window is still 2-3 years away from even, budding. We don't know if our quarterback is Daniel Jones or Tommy DeVito. It's obviously you need to know that and your wide receivers and your defense before your running back. And this is just from a guy who's been playing a lot of Madden lately. Obviously if Saquon Barkley gets signed to a 3-year deal, I'm not going to cry about it at all. But just looking from an allocation of resources, I mean, that's my biggest my biggest thing is I'm looking at the numbers, and I mean the numbers. First of all, the numbers really don't make sense that Saquon's here. I wouldn't even mind honestly at this point if Saquon Barkley were if Saquon Barkley were I was going to say we're on the Buffalo Bills or something going for a championship because it's at that point where he means so much to Giants fans that I think the Giants fans would even be happy with him going to win because the Giants are in the process of actually redesigning their entire franchise right now. And that's just my thoughts on him. Obviously, he is the best player on their team, sans Dexter Lawrence. So it is what it is. And I don't know. I'm just kind of jostling. And I think you made a really good point because right when the question was asked, your first thought process was this is a really hard question. Because how bad would the Giants have been this year without Saquon Barkley? Pretty damn bad, right?
Absolutely.
And listen, this is great. We got 18 people on here. We got 5 people on the YouTube. Shout out to everyone. Go follow Tommy right now. Retweet out everything on my channel and on his channel. Let's get 100 followers for Tommy today. Wow, Tommy, you're already at 10K now. You are freaking flying. Absolutely. I know. We're gonna get you. We're gonna get you. The next road is road to 15K. You're gonna be a staple on the Jimmy Randazzo show. Obviously, I'll come on anything that you ever ask for. But I think you are the right guy to have our weekly talks because
I appreciate you, brother.
Of course.
I value you too.
Of course. Let's get to Lucas. Did you have something to say?
No, I'm just taking in what Tommy has to say. I mean, clearly.
Good afternoon, guys. How you doing? This is Angel. I grew up. I live right now in the city of Whitehall, where Berkeley attended school. This town is man.
I live in Alabama.
Yeah. You know how it is, but you should know, man. I'm not bragging. I have family that go to where the school that he went to. Families around, they go to the local pizza spot. I believe we should keep him. I'm not saying it because I live in the city. I'm just saying he has a lot of talent. Obviously, he's the number one player. He's the best player running the ball. Without him, yeah, you guys are right. We will be basically garbage. I think we should keep him and let us construct our team. I mean, I don't know what you guys. I have a question for you guys. I don't know where's that draft order right now? Where's the stand right now?
The Giants will be 9th today.
Yeah, they're at 9 right now. Yep.
So it's not going to get any higher than top 5, right? I'm assuming.
Oh, it's possible. You got the Eagles still 2 games. Those are going to be 2 tough games. You got New Orleans on the road next week, so it's possible. It's possible they can get back into the top 5. But I think you have, if you ask me now, I think they beat New Orleans, beat LA, and they split with the Eagles. So you're probably looking at,
You think the Giants can split with the Eagles? Listen. I don't know. I'm nervous. Listen, I don't know. I don't know what the heck's going on. And I'm going to share this. I'm going to share this one little piece with you guys because this is the worst. Go ahead. The worst kept secret, if anybody's a sports gambler out there, when the line is exactly 6, the underdog has been absolutely crushing. No, like I'll be honest. You guys know me. I'm obviously a Yankees fiend. I'm a huge Giants fan as well. But I had no confidence in the Giants yesterday. But that magic number was 6 yesterday, so it was Giants money line, Giants +6. If you look the week beforehand, Sunday Night Football, Packers versus Chiefs. Chiefs were favored by 6, and on and on and on and on. So if anybody's out there, you see the number 6. Obviously, if you told me the Giants were going to beat the Packers yesterday, I'm like, oh, that probably doesn't make sense. But if that magic number is 6, look at it, see it, take the underdog. It usually wins. Back to talking Giants football because we do have a legend on here, Tommy. We got 20 people in the chat. Listen. Go on Lucas. Let's link that YouTube. Or we have the YouTube linked. Please, guys, just click on the YouTube. We have to get the subscribers up. Lucas, how many are you at?
We're still at a 498. We just need 2 of you guys.
We lost. I don't know how we lost.
Before we continue, Mr. Legacy, you spoke. I'm going to say that you're both a Giants and Yankees fan. Are you subscribed to the YouTube channel?
He's probably not. All right, we'll get back to the YouTube subscriptions when.
I gotta do that. I'm at work. I'm definitely going to do it.
Awesome. Thank you. No, it's fine. We don't want to sound desperate out here with Tommy on. Next question.
Man, I got you guys, man. Thank you for having me.
Next question for appreciate you. Who wants to ask the next question? Raise your hand.
I got a question for
Go ahead.
So, Tommy, I'm president of the Isaiah Simmons fan club. I'm a huge fan of him. He hasn't been really used much, but with Philly coming up, they're speed team. He has speed. Do you think we could utilize like a 3 linebacker system with him, McFadden, and Bobby O? And that
You said Simmons?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's been interesting how they've utilized Simmons this season. He's played a very, very specific role. He's played a very limited number of snaps. But if you look at the snaps he's played, and you look at some of his PFF grades, he's graded out top end. He's graded out, 75, 80, 85 every single game so far, almost. So I think we'll see more of him. I don't think we'll see a lot more of him. I think Wink Martindale has a specific system. Simmons has a specific role in that system. I think they like using him in a limited amount of reps. Obviously, Okereke has been playing out of his mind. McFadden has been playing much, much better than he had last year. So I think they're kind of happy with that rotation. So I don't think we'll see a lot more of Simmons. But hey, you know what? He fits perfectly in that defense. He's versatile. He's physical. He can cover. You've seen him make plays in coverage, right? You've seen him with the pick 6 a couple weeks ago. So I don't think you'll see a lot more of him. But I do think you'll continue to see that quality play because he's playing a limited amount of reps and he doesn't get exposed. Some of the things that he got exposed for in the Cardinals, you don't see that. You don't see him getting pushed around. You don't see him getting swallowed up by blockers, right? Because he's not being put in that role. Well, when they traded that 7th round pick for Isaiah Simmons, they had that specific role in mind for him. They knew his weaknesses. They knew his strengths. I think if you do continue to play him significantly more, you will see those warts, so to speak, come back to fruition. So a little bit more, yes, maybe, but I think how the rotation they have right now is perfect. I think he's playing well, and you'll continue to see that.
I also want to throw in there, like, he's doing the little things that are good. Like, he actually, during the Patriots game, he helped set up that interception for Bobby O. He was on the rusher. You always see him. He's getting that key third down stop. I do really like him. I was the president of the fan club, and I do, as president, I hope he comes back as New York Giant.
Absolutely, man. I'm with you. And listen, so many times we tend to pick apart players because of their weaknesses, but the coaching has so much to do with that. The positions they put players in, how they use them, how they utilize them. And I think you're starting to see that with Simmons playing 10 times better than he did when he was with Arizona because they know how to use him. They're not forcing him to think on every single play. They're saying, hey, here's A-gap, here's B gap where they're saying, here, you cover the tight end, you cover that slot receiver. They're not forcing him to think. They're not playing him too much. And I think that's the perfect role. And that's how you get the most out of Isaiah Simmons.
I think I got another question, too. You see Isaiah Hodgins also performing pretty well. I don't know if it's the DeVito effect, but, like, he's playing pretty well. And if he continues to play well, do you think he'll be back, or do you think it's done for Isaiah Hodgins, or to be trimmed?
That's a great question. Obviously, I picked him up, off the waiver wire from Buffalo. Wasn't expecting much last season. He comes on like gangbusters. The guy has great hands, smooth hands. He's a good route runner. It's not going to give you much in the way of speed, explosion, or anything like that. But you've seen him the last couple of weeks start to come alive. And my honest opinion is we haven't really been able to fully assess this Giants wide receiver unit, right? It's just common sense. They got the worst offensive line arguably in football. Daniel Jones from week one, opening kickoff in Dallas, shell shock, constantly hit. He's playing with the neck, tears his ACL. You have Tyrod come in. Tyrod's not a huge passer. He's not going to put up a lot of productivity. He's not going to have a lot of explosive pass plays. So we really don't know what to expect or what's going on with this wide receiver unit. But you're starting to see it now with DeVito. And this is one thing I give DeVito credit for. His first couple of games, he was boom or bust, right? He was either going to throw it deep or he was going to pull the ball down and take a sack. He didn't trust himself in that short game or that short intermediate game. He didn't trust those short passes. You've seen more of it last night. And you'll start to see more of that going forward as he trusts himself. I personally like Isaiah Hodgins. I think he's dependable. Like I said, good hands. He's a professional NFL wide receiver. Whether he comes back or not, that's a tough one. Obviously, he's on his deal right now. He's going to be a free agent next year. Comfortable in the ball system. He's comfortable now with Kafka in that system. If he comes back, that's great. If he doesn't come back, I don't think that's a huge blow. But I could definitely see him coming back as, a third or fourth option because, let's be honest, Hyatt are the future of this wide receiver core right now. And if you bring in another receiver in the draft, you now have three receivers. You have Darius Slayton, so there's not going to be a lot of reps to go around. I think, unfortunately, Hodgins might be a victim of circumstance this offseason, but hey, we'll see.
Yeah, I think that the Giants have a lot of slot receivers. And that's not necessarily a bad thing in 2023. But that also shout out Legacy subscriber number 500. I think that at that point it's kind of like a liken to Isaiah Kiner, Falafel, Waka Flame situation where you need two guys, you don't need three guys, and obviously Shepard's not anything he used to be, but you're making a lot of good points because Wan'Dale is unreal and Jalen Hyatt is unreal. So if you can go out and find that number one receiver that can legitimately, is a possession receiver, this wide receiver group goes from like a 75 overall to like an 84 or 85. They do need that big playmaker, though.
Absolutely. I also threw you out there in my tight-knit group chat that I have to subscribe, so hopefully we get some subscribers coming in.
Let's go.
For the Jimmy Randazzo show. Everybody subscribe. This show right now is on the cusp of blowing it up. We're going to blow this thing up. In these next few months, next season, it's going to be the go-to place for New York sports takes, content, analysis, you name it. We're going to rock it on the Jimmy Randazzo show. Subscribe now. Get ahead of the curve.
Appreciate that. Anybody have any other questions for the man, the myth, the legend, Tommy? Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know the exact number, but let's just throw a number out there. Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right, so I don't know what the exact number is. I'll just throw a number. Let's just say we've drafted 22 linemen in the last 5 years.
You don't hear anything?
No, I don't hear anything.
All right, Chris, sorry. Chris has bad connection sometimes. All good. Let's get to
Everybody else can hear me. How the hell can you not hear me?
I don't know. Don't get upset.
Shout out New York Giants rush.
Can you hear me, Tommy?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, Chris, it's okay. Don't worry. We'll get back to it in a second.
All right.
Chris K is saying that New York Giant Rush has a YouTube channel. Ask him to speak. Okay, we'll bring him up. Chris K is our marketer. So yeah, if he tells us to bring somebody up, we're going to bring somebody up. And Cole, Mr. Cole Seam, Don't worry, man. Take it easy. Once we start talking Yankees baseball again, you're gonna be the first person to talk. We're just talking Giants football right now, and we're gonna keep it rolling. And shout out to everybody who subscribed to the YouTube channel. We're at 500 now, so I appreciate everybody. But next question, we have Yoda. Yoda, you're on. We're talking Giants football. Do you have any other questions about Giants football right now?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I always got questions about New York stuff.
All right, let's go. Let's hear it.
All right, Tommy, I got this for you. Giants won't get anywhere without offensive linemen and protection for their quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? You hit it right on the head, and to me, this is two-pronged, right? Because you see a rookie here, rookie undrafted free agent coming in, and Tommy DeVito. The offensive line last night still grades out very, very poorly according to PFF, and he took 0 sacks. 0 sacks. This is an offensive line that their quarterbacks, whether it was Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor, were taking on average 5 to 6 sacks per game. Historically, one of the worst offensive lines in NFL history when it comes to giving up sacks. So while I do think this offensive line needs some improvements, I do think they need to look at Bobby Johnson, who's the offensive line coach. I think, and I hate to really put blame on a position coach because there really is only so much they could do. But when you have players like Evan Neal in his second year, played worse this season than his rookie year, which is hard to believe because he was ranked 39 out of 39 possible tackles in 2022. You have Joshua Izudu, who you took, I believe it was in the 3rd round. Second-year player, played poorly this year, got hurt, second straight season-ending injury. You have Marcus McKeithen, who you took fairly high. I believe he was in the 4th round, not developed. So when you have an offensive line unit that features the number 4 overall pick, the number 7 overall pick, the number 59 overall pick, and I believe it was the number 70 overall pick, and you have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL, you either got 2 issues here. You got a scouting issue or you got a coaching issue. And I think Bobby Johnson is a huge part of the problem. So before you go throwing more draft capital at the offensive line, I think you need to look at him if he's doing what he has to do. You hear him in these interviews saying the offensive line is getting better. These players are improving. But as soon as the ball kicks off, you don't see that. You also see an offensive line unit that fails to communicate. You saw them last night. They had a couple of false starts in short yardage positions. You saw an offensive line last night that in 4 opportunities of 3rd and 4th and short couldn't convert 1 first down. So you have problems there, but it's multifaceted. Look at the coach. You know, if you want to pick up some free agents, that's great. I like the guard out of Miami. I believe his name is Hunt. He's going to be a free agent. I would take a look at him. You've got to take a look at that coach because you have a lot of premium draft capital already built into that offensive line, and you are getting nothing out of it.
Wow, that was a great answer. Oh my God. Wow. Romel, what's going on?
Peace and blessings to everyone in here. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Of course.
Thank you.
Just to make it easy, call me Coach Ed, Tommy. Blessings,
Coach
brother.
Ed, my brother. Oh my goodness, Jimmy, this is my brother. I don't know if you know Coach Ed.
I don't. Shout out Coach Ed. What's going on, brother?
What's up? So I appreciate it. Tommy, just give me your takes on Ashawn and Nacho, how you see them doing this year, and what's the chances of, or do you think it's good bringing them back, or anything in that regard, especially when you have Riley and you have Davison there in the trenches. They're young and they're working to become productive NFL defensive linemen. You know how I am about the big, sexy fatties out there.
Absolutely, brother. That's a great question. Listen, there's no question that, when Leonard Williams was here, whenever him and Dexter Lawrence were off the field, especially at the same time, teams ran it right up the gut versus the Giants. I think the number was 5.4 yards per carry with Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence out of the game, and then it was like 4.2 with them in the game. And that's obvious. You're going to have a drop-off to the backups, right? But I do think there's some issues there. You know, you got Ashawn Robinson. I think he's graded out around a 50. Nacho's kind of around the same. You know, these are veteran guys, journeyman guys. toss-ups to me, Coach, honestly. I think what you really need to do is continue to develop a DJ Davidson, continue to develop a Jordan Riley. He's been inactive pretty much the whole season. You've seen him get a lot of praise, a lot of burn in the preseason. He has some ability. I think you're going to lean more towards developing that younger talent. If I had to choose, I'd probably bring Nacho back. I think Nacho's played a little bit better. I like Ashawn. I think he's getting a little bit long in the teeth. But you really want to develop, Davidson, Riley, and you really want to have that second tackle. You really want to have that guy next to Dexter Lawrence that can free him up. Basically what Leonard Williams did, and vice versa. So, they're toss-ups to me, Coach. Honestly, if they both come back, that's great. If neither come back, I don't think that's a huge loss. You could pick up similar talent in the draft, free agency, but would love to see one of them come back because you do want to have that veteran experience on that interior defensive line. I like Davidson. I think he's played well. We haven't seen much of Riley. So right now you really only have Dexter Lawrence, Davidson, and then, the two vets. So it's going to be tough. There's still some question marks there on the defensive line. What's going on with Azeez Ojulari, gangbusters his rookie year. He's been hurt. He's been in and out. Last night, you finally see him make some critical plays. Had the sack, had the big stop. Good to see that. But I'm kind of impartial on the two veterans coming back. I think it's a toss-up. I think we'll lean more towards them not coming back, Coach.
All right, a couple of things I just want to help you guys out with. When in other spaces that I've been in, if you can't hear or anything of that nature, someone usually drops down and you bring them back up. That seems to knock out all the glitches.
Okay.
And in terms of in offensive line play, just in terms of draft perspective, take a look at the left tackle for Washington. I think it's Fatano. He's someone that you can also possibly move inside to guard. He has a very nasty temperament. He's very physical. He's athletic. He can get out on the pole and get downfield. He works very well in combination, working to the second level. So he is someone that, I'm going to be keeping an eye on. You could probably get him in the second or third round. And then also Christian Mahogany from Boston College. Big kid, Jersey kid, beast of a kid. Plays in the ACC. He definitely works. He definitely is someone that you can keep an eye on. Also, in the draft, you can probably get him in the fourth to the fifth round, somewhere in that range. Both of them still have something that they have to work on, but those are guys that I'm personally going to be keeping an eye on. And if things play out right, they're going to be New York Football Giants. So thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate you.
Fun fact about Christian Mahogany, he went to the same high school as Jabril Peppers, Paramus Catholic.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Lucas, why don't we give a shout out to every single person in the chat real quick? Go do it. Do your thing.
Shout out Bum. Shout out Matthew Buckets. Shout out Gil, Mikey, Terrence, Eli. Big
Let's get a little more pep in your stack. Come on.
All right, no, I'll start from the top.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's shout out Bumstar. Let's shout out Matthew Caprio. Oh, we just got a new guy. Depressed Giants fan. You just tuned in just in time. Shout out Buckets. Gil Martinez, Mikey, Moots, Terrence Jones, Eli. Shout out to you. Big Dash Nose, New York Giants Rush. Shout out Austin, Theory, A-Town Waller. I love you. Shout out Cole. Also love you. Amber, you're cool too. Shout out Legacy. Shout out Coach Ed. Yoda Yankees. Hope you enjoy your t-shirt. Shout out Chris K, of course, and the man of the hour, Tommy G. Let's go. New York baseball Yankees. And hell, I don't like the Giants, but sure, New York Football Giants. They're cool.
And Chris is saying in the chat, Chris K is saying in the chat to ask Big Dash to speak. He has a dope YouTube channel. So any of you YouTube guys out there that want to talk, obviously you're probably in here because of Tommy. But if you want to talk New York Football Giants, you can come up and speak. We're more than happy to have you. Let's swing it back. So I think the real question today, though, is QB1, right, going into the future? But I think it's going to really work itself out after we see DeVito start the next 4 or 5 games, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, DeVito could help himself tremendously here down the stretch. He already has. And listen, it's not going to be perfect. He's going to have a bad game coming up. It's just natural. But do you see that progression? Do you see that development? Is he able to pick up those stunts and blitzes? Is he able to make his hot reads, right? Is he able to communicate? Can he get that short passing game down? That timing, those timing routes, those hot routes, the small stuff, making adjustments, the intellectual part of the game. Because if you want to go to physical part of the game, the emotional part of the game, whatever it is, he has it. You've seen it last night. Nothing affects him. No matter of bad plays, he didn't play great in the first half, had some inaccurate throws. It doesn't matter to Tommy DeVito. He's playing with house money. You want to see that continue. And when it comes to quarterback one, nobody knows right now. Who knows? We got to see where the Giants draft pick lies. We got to see if Joe Shane had fell in love with someone and wants to move up with Daniel Jones' health line. Unfortunately, when it comes to QB1, there's really no definitive answer, and there's really not a definitive guess either, just because there's too much up in the air right now.
Yeah, let's swing it over. I agree. I agree with you. And I agree with you. And all right, I had this question, and then we'll get to New York Giants, Rush, and then we'll get to Romel again, Mr. Ed, or Coach Ed. But my girlfriend and I are sitting and watching the game yesterday, and we see Tommy DeVito's agent. And she's saying, it's not real. And I'm saying, what do you mean it's not real? It's literally happening. This guy, this agent. And then even Tommy DeVito, he seems, after the game, the media's talking to him about his agent. And I'm sitting back because, I'm 50% Sicilian, 75% Italian. Like I am, I have a little bit of Irish in me and a little bit of German in me, but I'm sitting there saying, like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to overstate it. But then DeVito comes up to the press conference and he's saying, it's good for business. So, this guy has been his agent for a while, right? Or does anybody have any knowledge on this agent? Because, I was yelling at my girlfriend. I was literally like, what do you mean? It's not real. Obviously, it's real, right?
Obviously, the big star last night looks like he walked out of a Goodfellas movie, right?
You're right.
An extra in the background. But you said it, Jimmy. Tommy DeVito and his family are smart people. DeVito says last night, you know what? It's good for business. If you look, DeVito's mother was selling Tommy T-shirts even when he was, right after he left Syracuse. So there's no question they're playing into this role. There's no question they're yucking it up. They're playing into it. And you know what? Good for them. Their kid is a rookie undrafted free agent, starting on Monday Night Football for the New York Giants, winning football games. And while that was his agent, I definitely think they yucked it up and they hammed it up a little and they set him up nicely for the theatrics.
Fair enough. I just had to ask because I was like, we don't usually argue, and I was just like, I don't even really know what you mean by that. Lukash, do you have something to say?
I need to chime in here. Listen, I'm as Italian as you can get, right? I mean, my family has had some, in its rich past, has had some history with the Italian mafia. And let me tell you, that guy, he is not an agent. He is out to kill.
Okay. All right. Let's swing it over. Lukash, how many subscribers we have on YouTube?
Listen, Jimmy, we're at 503. We gained one more. So.
All right. So there's 20 people in here. If we get to 520 in the next 15 minutes, I'll give out a T-shirt. Shout out to everybody in here. Let's swing it over because Chris K told me that New York Giants Rush had a YouTube channel. Obviously, we are with the GOAT, Tommy G, as well. New York Giants Rush, do you have any thoughts on the game last night, Tommy DeVito, or, anywhere you really want to take it? Thoughts from last night?
What's up, gentlemen? Thanks for having me on. What's up, Tommy?
What's up, Craig? Before you start, funny story, Jimmy. I actually really got my start with Craig and Giants Rush, when I was just out there tweeting, just giving my opinions, Craig showed a tremendous amount of belief in me, brought me on the team, showcased me, basically put me on one of my first podcasts ever. And he's done that with several creators in the community that went on to be successful. So Craig's been around a long time, many, many years.
Oh, heck yeah.
One of the best out there. He knows I love him, and I'm glad to have him on today.
Heck yeah, that's huge. That is honestly huge. Go ahead, Craig. Nice to meet you, brother.
Very nice to meet you, Jimmy. I don't know what to say after that. It was a really good opening. I'm gonna have to record that and use that somewhere down the line.
We have it recorded on YouTube and on here, so that's good.
All right, fair enough. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys having me on. Anytime I can support Tommy, I'm there for it. So, you guys ran the gamut on a couple different topics. One, Tommy, you mentioned about putting, certain draft capital against linemen. I would have to think, if you remember back when Shane got the job and when Dable got the job, the scouts did not change, right? That was something that's been entrenched for a long time. They brought on their own staff, but the scouts primarily have been here for decades, some of them. So I definitely think it leans on the scouting side that they're just not, bringing in the right type of, player. We see guys like Pert and Shane Lemieux and some of these guys that just don't pan out. And then, of course, then you compound it with a Bobby Johnson who can't seem to coach these guys up, right? Can't seem to get something out of them. You look like Feliciano. Feliciano left to go to San Francisco, and he's like player of the week every week. So there's definitely a combination between, what they're bringing in-house, like a Zudu, like, look, hey, just draft a guard who's a guard, not a guard who can play tackle and center. Like, stop sticking a round peg in a square hole. So when you guys start talking about that, I do think a lot has to do with the scouting and who they traditionally like and bring in. I think that's over when Dable and Shane, the more they prove themselves, you're going to start getting a little bit more leeway on who they bring in scouting-wise. I think the scouting will get better. The DeVito thing, you guys have nailed it. Like, he's playing with house money, Tommy, to use your quote. Because who knows what tomorrow brings for Tommy DeVito. What he's proven is, at the least, he can be an NFL quality backup player, right? He can be that guy, and you don't have to go, oh, boy, here comes DeVito. Like, now, he has showcased himself as, hey, when in a jam, this guy can step in and win games. Still under contract, so you're still going to have him coming. The biggest question is, are you drafting a quarterback in the first or second round? Good opportunity with some of these guys like J.J. McCarthy could fall. Penix with the injuries can fall. So it's definitely going to be a unique offseason. But for now, I'm hoping everybody's enjoying the fact that they're winning some games. Tommy, I'm sure you're familiar. We interviewed Micah McFadden last week. McFadden Absolutely, great interview.
Yeah, and I don't want to give a shameless plug, but we interview players usually every couple weeks, and McFadden said, hey, we're playing as hard as we can. None of us want to lose. None of us want that stigma that we gave up or that we're tanking. Like, the interview's up, on all the pod channels and on YouTube. Like, he was really forthright with, like, hey, I was worried when they signed Okereke, but he started a little bit slow until he went from a zone read defense with the Colts to a man read defense with the Giants. So there's a lot of pieces that folks don't really realize what happens, right? These guys want to win. So I'm hoping today is a day where everybody's kind of celebrating, not worrying about who's starting at quarterback. It feels good to win.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. Obviously, you seem as tapped in as it gets when it comes to New York Giants football. And I think that's I think sometimes we look ahead too much too when it comes to the quarterback situation. I think what they did is they proved yesterday that, hey, we're gonna out hustle you on defense. We're gonna try to outcoach you at least. I mean, I think Dable even knew on that fourth and one. The Giants were listen. I know that Saquon Barkley isn't this huge HB gut kind of guy, but they were running the stretch play too much, and that clearly wasn't working as well. I'm here for a toss or even Saquon and Wildcat on 4th and 1. But what are your guys' thoughts on those 4th and shorts, that 3rd and shorts? Because I really do not trust the offensive line to let the play break down in order for an HB stretch, and that was really frustrating yesterday for me.
Kafka always frustrates me, right? Because when you're a 4-win team, you should have this mentality. And Tommy, I'm pretty sure you might agree to a degree. Is like you're a 4-win team. Go for it. Open it up a little bit. Like, be smart about what we're doing. In the whole first quarter, it was conservative ball. We ran 3 screens in 5 plays. I mean, we're not a screen team. And to your point, Jimmy, it's like, you want a 4th down, you can't run a stretch play. You can't go outside. We don't have the linemen that can do that. You got to hope for a pop in, between the C and the D gap, and you got to hope that Saquon can pop it through, because some of those play calls were suspect.
Yeah, it is, and it speaks more because Tommy was talking about the offensive line yesterday, and he made a lot of sense. He was talking about how they were graded. And by the way, everybody, shameless plug: smash the above my profile, smash the subscribe button on YouTube. There's 6 of us on the YouTube studio. Obviously, there's 70 people in here because obviously I'm more known for Twitter. But appreciate everybody coming on, and we have some serious, giants, pun intended, YouTube subscribers and creators in here. So like and follow them as well. And this is a community, and this is what Tommy G does. He brings people together because he's an absolute savage. So let's swing it back over. I know Coach Romel had a question. Coach, go ahead.
Thanks. I just wanted to let me preface this by saying, in terms of the QB1, I am not saying DeVito should be the QB1 going forward. Should it play out right now? Yes. But one of the things that I have been watching with him is how this locker room supports him. That's important for any quarterback. I go back to the Phil Simms era, and yes, you need a good backup. That second Super Bowl, Haas came in and helped lead the team to the Super Bowl. That's a product of having a good backup quarterback. I can go to the 49ers when Montana went down and you brought in Young. So you do need to have a good backup quarterback. And that's
absolutely
what I'm seeing in DeVito. This locker room is in full support behind him, and that's important.
100%.
I'm sorry?
100%.
Yeah, whether it's QB1 or QB2 or QB3 for that matter, you need the support of the locker room, and that's important. So that's why I wanted to, just add that in terms of the quarterback play. And what I've seen about DeVito, his skill set is still a work in progress. I mean, I've been following him since his time at Don Bosco, when he went up to Syracuse and then last year at Illinois. So, I've been following the kid. I've been watching him, and, I've seen the progression, from his freshman year at Syracuse till now. So it's still a work in progress. Still has to get a little bit stronger, but, being in the NFL program, hopefully he will be able to do that. The mental faculties, continues to grow, and he's someone that whoever is the QB1, and if he ends up, for some reason winning it, hey, so be it. But if it's someone we draft or if it's DJ, whatever the case may be, just having that good backup behind him, that, like you guys said, that comes in and, we have confidence that he'll go out there and produce. Now, does he have to, is there some things that you have to do differently schematically for him? Of course. He's not, Tyrod, he's not DJ, he's Tommy DeVito. So that's what you have to do is, scheme up and, have a system that fits his skill set. And as far as coaches, I don't ever want to call for a coach's job, but, I've always been saying some of the things, people have said about Bobby Johnson. I always put the question out, is it the players or is it the coach? If we're saying the players are bad, then how is that the coach's fault? But if we're saying the players have talent, then it's the coach's fault because they're not getting coached up. So, there has to be that even balance. If they do decide to move on, there's a coach right down the road at Rutgers University.
No, leave the Rutgers coach in Rutgers. Rutgers is building right now. Let them build, please. They just got the Adidas contract going. Adidas is funneling money into Rutgers University right now. It's the best thing that's happened in New Jersey in years. They got the Tony Soprano theme song going on at halftime. I haven't even been there yet, but I want to run through a brick wall for Rutgers University. So please leave the Schiano, man. I know we're Giants fans first and everything, but what Rutgers has done in the last 3 years athletically has been unbelievable. Like, I have chills thinking about it. They have guys that really want to play there. They even have the Ohio State quarterback, Kyle McCord, might be going over there now because of how good they're going. But I want that starting quarterback still. I think that they should play it out with him. But let's listen. Brian Dable is going to be the head coach of the New York Football Giants next year.
Let me say this first, okay? I'm actually a Rutgers Scarlet Knight fan.
Oh, good.
If Rutgers is playing and the Giants are playing, I'm actually watching Rutgers first. I've been following Rutgers as far as back as the Giants. I used to live not far from the stadium. I know about it, so I bleed Scarlet. So,
but you don't believe in Brian Dable?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that you said leave the in terms of Pat Flaherty. I was just
saying, okay.
If you're going to make a change, we have a coach who actually has been with the Giants and won Super Bowls, and he's in our own backyard. If you're going to make a change, that's that's just saying, hey, bring him on over, because he knows what it takes to coach the offensive line for the New York Football Giants. And he's done it at the highest level, and he's won a Super Bowl. That's where I was going with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes I have meatballs coming in my ears. I get it. No, when it comes to the Rock, like, I am slowly but surely becoming a Rutgers fan, like, big time, because I've never had a college team, because I went to I went to small college, so it's so positive. But I see what you're saying. The offensive line is a mess. And I think they know that. I think, if any radio station in New York, their producers know it. That's all that we talk about. We hammer it home to death. But also at the same time, like, I think that Dable needs another year. I think definitely Schiano is killing it over there. And I think that, really with the NIL going on right now, like, Rutgers could potentially in the next 5 years make a playoff. And that is the most crazy sounding thing. But when you have Adidas money, you can really do anything. I'll swing it back. Let's talk about the wide receivers for a minute, because I don't really know where the allocation. I was prepared to talk Yankees, but we obviously pivot on the Jimmy Randazzo show when we have monsters in here. Let's talk about the allocation of just throws to different wide receivers, because we saw Wandale. I don't know the numbers exactly. I'll pull them up. But Wandale was obviously killing it yesterday. What are your guys' thoughts on the progression of Jalen Hyatt? Just, obviously he's a talent, but do you like the way he's working with DeVito? And has he been more on short routes, long routes? I haven't really dove into that at all.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So, like I said earlier, when it comes to the Giants wide receivers, virtually almost impossible this season to really grade them and rate them out, considering how poorly the offensive line has played. You have Daniel Jones in, then you have Tyrod in, then Jones is back in for a quarter, then you have a rookie quarterback in. It's really just been the system. And for the coaching staff, getting a system that could actually work at the pro level, it hasn't really even gotten to the level of, okay, we want to get this guy a certain amount of targets. We want to get this guy involved. They haven't even gotten to that level yet because they haven't been able to. The offensive line has given up a record amount of sacks. That has stopped, 7-step drops. Quarterbacks getting knocked as soon as they hit their third step. You haven't really been able to see that. And especially for a receiver like Jalen Hyatt, who we've seen this season can take the top off of a defense, can get open deep. It was nice to see, DeVito be able to hit him kind of in that cover 2 hole shot between the corner and the safety. That's something Daniel Jones couldn't and or wouldn't do. But really, really hard this season to say, hey, this is the guy, this is not the guy. This guy should be wide receiver 3. Obviously, Jalen Hyatt is going to be a stud going forward. Once they get this passing game down, once the offensive line can stabilize and develop and get better, and there's more time to hit those deep drops, Jalen Hyatt has been open almost all season, Jimmy. Flat out. I mean, I've watched some game film where, half a dozen times I'm like, wow, this guy could have scored a touchdown. That's how open he was. So it's been really tough, and it's going to continue to be tough because you have a rookie quarterback, and you're limited, like Coach Ed said, you're limited in some of the things you could do. You just want him to go out there, not turn the ball over, hand it off to the running backs or hand it off to the receiver, in this case with Wan'Dale Robinson, keep the team in the game and make those couple of big throws when they present themselves. And that's what DeVito did last night. But I think you have Wan'Dale. I think you have Jalen Hyatt. I still like Slayton. I still like what he could bring to a team. Would like the Giants to kind of maybe get that, bigger X type of receiver that you could throw it up in there and throw those, back corner fade routes. Would love to see the Giants get that. I know the NFL has kind of moved away from that a little, but I think that would fit perfect in this dynamic because, like we said, Giants got more slots than Atlantic City right now when it comes to receivers. It's like all slot receivers, which is great in today's NFL because, that's what you see, right? You see trip formation, you see rub routes, and you see, short routes, and it's all quick, a lot of quick passing game. But you got Hyatt, you got Wan'Dale. Those are the two core guys that you're going to move going forward. We'll see what happens with Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins. But would love for the Giants to still get one more guy. I don't think they have to go first round or maybe even second round for that guy, but just kind of that big body, tough receiver that can go up and get it. I think that would fit perfectly with what this offense is trying to do right now.
I got a question, Tommy. If you had a guy like Harrison, you almost don't want to draft a guy like Harrison because you don't have that gunslinger QB, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're willing to settle for B+ wide receivers because we don't have the gunslinger. If you had the gunslinger QB, you'd be all over finding it. Well, we would be all over trying to find a number one, but we're okay with not having a number one because we don't have that guy that wants to throw it 40 times.
Right, and that's why I said one of the toughest assessments this season, and I'm sure it's the same way for the coaching staff in the front office, is this wide receiver core. Is it a good core? Is it perfect for the system? Do they need another guy? Do they need another two guys? You really don't know because quarterbacks haven't been able to get the ball downfield. They've been scraping themselves up off the turf for 90% of the season. But you're starting to see it creep in a little bit. Now, you've seen it last night, what you have with Wan'Dale Robinson. You got a dual threat receiver, can take handoffs, jet sweeps, screens. He can now get open downfield. So you have something there. With Hyatt, still a rookie, he's been on and off. They just haven't got him the ball. So that's a great point, Craig. It's really hard to say, you know what, we're going to put a top 5 pick into a wide receiver just for the guy to be going out there and doing, calisthenics every Sunday and running routine. So that's a great point.
It is. It's interesting because right when Craig said it, my mind blew because obviously Marvin Harrison Jr.'s done. I actually think he might be a Hall of Famer. I think there's an 80% chance of it. Also, I think he might be going back into he might be getting $5 million to stay at Ohio State right now too. But he does make a really good point. If you don't have the quarterback, obviously you're going to be running I-4 more, and you're going to be you're going to be depending on Saquon Barkley. Quick thoughts. Just go to my Twitter account, smash the retweet button so we can get 100 more people in here. And then also subscribe to Tommy G's YouTube channel, New York Giants Rush channel. I don't know if Coach Ed has a YouTube channel, but let's follow everybody in here. Chris K told me that there was another guy in here with a huge YouTube following, Big Dash. Appreciate everybody in here. Listen, I can adapt pretty quickly. My thought process, listen, I'm not saying that I'm a fair weather Knicks fan. But I'm not a fair weather. I'm a huge Giants fan. I've just been so depressed when it comes to the first, 7-8 games of the season. But listen, you guys talk ball. It's invigorating me. The franchise on my PS5. I mean, I'm going to try to get Tommy DeVito a freaking franchise. I'm going to screw the team that I have with Josh Allen. Tommy DeVito is going to get a freaking Super Bowl in the next 18 months because I feel the energy in this chat, and I love talking ball. I mean, how can you not? You just love to talk ball. But yeah, subscribe to both of those guys on YouTube. I tried to click the subscribe button. I think it almost took me out of here. But subscribe to those guys absolutely, and follow them and retweet them because they're obviously very knowledgeable people. Okay, so I actually have a question about about Darren Waller. How many years left does he have on his deal, and like, is he even going to play the rest of the season? What's going on with Darren Waller?
Yeah, so supposedly he's coming back next week. That's supposedly, obviously, that's tentative. That's the soft comeback. It's gonna be tough, man, because when you're dealing with a hamstring injury, a little bit of an older tight end. He's been injured. It's gonna be very, very tough for him when he comes back. And I don't know if he makes it back next week. Obviously, we've seen with hamstrings with Andrew Thomas when he tried to come back. He had a setback. Took him a couple more weeks to come back. It's going to be very, very tough for him when he gets back there. But I will say this: before he got injured, he was taking a huge step forward. He was starting to get the ball more. He was showing he could be that vertical downfield threat. I just don't know health-wise, how this plays out for Darren Waller. I don't know if he beats that injury bug. I really don't. And I know the Giants kind of reworked his deal a little bit. I wouldn't put a lot on the table with Waller, Jimmy. Just me personally, all the talent in the world, 6'6", 240. The guy's a beast, a physical beast, but he just seems to be getting to that point in his career where, he's starting to break down. And it's been happening every season now, 3 seasons going. And, it's really tough. And I think this is what's really happened to the Giants over the last, decade of disaster is you look at a player and you look at their talent and you look at their past production and you look at what they've done for the team or for a previous team and you say, you know what, that's our guy and, we're going to stick with him. And, he's going to come back and he's going to be this and that. And what happens? You have a Daniel Jones that's missed games almost every season. You have Saquon Barkley, who has been, to be fair, outside of last year, injury prone, right? You have those guys where sometimes it's almost better to have a mediocre player at that position that can play 17 games rather than a good player at that position that gives you 7 or 8 games and puts you in a bad spot. And, they reworked his deal to create cap space. They converted $9.8 million of his base salary into signing bonus that's going to be paid out to him. But, what does that mean, honestly, when you look at it?
Yeah, no, it's fair. I mean, listen, again, and we'll swing it over to Giants Rush in a second. No, I'm just like the numbers guy. I'm trying to and obviously the NFL salary cap is kind of fake, and now we're learning the same thing in baseball. You can make things happen. I think the Rams and the Saints have been over the salary cap the last 7 or 8 years. So you can do things. I think that we sometimes as Giants fans put pressure on the front office too to make a move. We saw that with Kenny Galladay. We're seeing it with we didn't see it with Darren Waller. Obviously, we thought it was a good move, but yeah, maybe the move is really to pay the offensive and defensive line and to go get these young running backs, these young receivers, because at the end of the day, 4 or 5 years of the fastest guys on earth, you can get veterans, that can do the dirty work. I don't know. Obviously, Giants Rush, you don't like the Darren Waller situation either, do you?
It's his 3rd year in a row. I mean, listen, we all thought this was a great signing, right? I mean, we were doing cartwheels. I was driving up down the turnpike, high-fiving people, right? But it's the 3rd year in a row he's been hurt. And in 2023, it was like the year of the tight end. They had 10 tight ends.
I think we might have lost him. You guys hear him?
Yeah, I think we might have lost him.
We might have lost him for a second.
Really quick, Jim, you touched on something. You said sometimes we put too much pressure on the front office. I do want to give credit to Joe Shane, Brandon Brown, and his front office for the way they have done contracts.
We need, right?
What?
And we're kind of stuck, right? Because Bellinger has to play tackle because Neal can't block.
Yep.
And you got all this money tied up in Waller. Listen, we could be using that money to sign McKinney. There's a lot of things about where the money goes, and the Waller thing is tough.
Sure. And yeah, we'll swing over to Tommy, and then Chris K wants to talk. Obviously, you guys know Chris as well. So Tommy, go ahead. Giant Rush, you cut out for a second, so we didn't pick up all of that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, just saying at the front office, I know Joe Shane's been taking the beat lately for the Daniel Jones contract, and most thought he should have been tagged. Whatever that situation may be, Joe Shane has constructed these contracts in a way where not only are there outs, there's outs with not a lot of dead salary cap. When you have Daniel Jones, obviously it's going to be a big, dead cap number. He's the quarterback, but after the season, after 2024, you can cut him. He gets his $80 million guaranteed. It sucks, but it's not getting $160 million. That's what some fans out there just assume that. And even looking at the Waller contract, if they were to cut Waller after this season, it's a dead cap hit of $7 million, and you get a $5 million cap savings. If they say, hey, you know what, we're going to run it back with him, we're going to roll the dice because he's super talented, and you cut him after 2024, it's only a $5 million cap hit with a $9 million cap savings. And they did this all throughout their free agent signings, whether it's Paris Campbell, Daniel Jones, Darren Waller. They've made these contracts to where they could say to themselves when they sit in these meetings, this is not our guy. We made a mistake here. Let's not compound the issue. We have the out. Let's move forward. So kudos to Joe Shane again, Brandon Brown. I always say Brandon Brown. I love Brandon Brown. He's basically the assistant GM here. They have outs in all of these contracts. They've constructed them a way where they're not tied long term. Which something the previous GM, Dave Gettleman, didn't believe in that. He was locking guys up. He was giving them basically whatever they wanted. So when it comes to some of these players, whether it's Daniel Jones, Darren Waller, it does hurt when they don't perform up to their contract. But these contracts were constructed in a great way, and it's not going to handicap this team.
Beautiful. Giant shout out, Giants Rush. He just commented that he has to jump, but maybe what we'll do is we'll do I'm setting up the YouTube so that we can go live with three or more different people. We'll get Tommy, we'll get Giants Rush, we'll get other Giants YouTubers on it as well. But really appreciate Giants Rush. Go like and subscribe all of his stuff. We really appreciate it. Swing it over to my man Chris K. I'm sure he has a question for Tommy or some thoughts on his New York Football Giants. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so Jimmy, you're at 506 subscribers right now.
Okay.
I just refreshed. Thank you for everyone that's subscribing. Tommy, Coach Edge, and Giant Rush, thanks for popping in. Yeah, so this is a time to be alive for being a New York Giants fan. I'm enjoying these wins. I don't want the team to tank. I do think how they developed Tom DeVito, I'm fully confident no matter which QB they draft, whether it be a Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, or JJ McCarthy, I'm fully confident on whatever QB they're going to draft, they're going to get the most out of. I also want to know what you guys' thoughts on. And Coach Ed, while you're listening, I don't know if you're a Yankee fan or a baseball fan, I want to know your thoughts on when do you think the Yankees are going to get Yamamoto?
Yeah, it's a great question, Chris. Really tough when it comes to the quarterbacks coming out, especially as the Giants start to drop now and kind of that draft, their draft positioning. I usually typically really dig into the draft stuff when the season ends. I try to focus everything on the Giants in season and give it the attention, the detail it deserves. Right now you have a clear number one. That's Caleb Williams. To me, my number two is still Drake May. Then I put in Jaden Daniels. And then I would go Penix in there. Not a big deal.
love that. Coach, you got something to talk about? Let's go. And that's what we're really trying to do because, I have people tell me, they're like, dude, you're killing it on Twitter, but you don't do anything on YouTube. And I'm like, okay, so I love the fact that we have YouTube people on here because that's apparently very important. Apparently, YouTube is the way of the world.
I just watched the kid since his high school days down in Texas and then at Jackson State. And the kid understands the game. He reads the game very well. It's just that, at Colorado, we know he hasn't had the offensive line. That's why he's gotten beat up. But when he's had the time, he will carve any defense up. So, that's just my take. So go ahead. You guys got it.
Yeah, and I think that I agree wholeheartedly with you on the Penix front. The real issue with Penix, because obviously he's a baller, he might win the Heisman. I mean, that's beside the fact. I think it's his injury history because obviously he throws as good as a ball as anybody in college football right now. I just think that they're worried about his injury history because of if it's not for that, I don't know what else it's for.
No, I agree with you. It is his injury history, good knees. Like I said, I've been watching him since he was at Indiana. The kid had it there too. So he was just young and developing. But injuries play a big factor, and I do understand and I do respect it. So it's just, for me, he's one of the top ones for me in terms of processing, and that's reading the field and dissecting and understanding what defense is doing. Now, he does tend to hold the ball a little bit too long, so some of that is his trust in his offensive line and waiting for his receivers to get open. So in the NFL, he's going to have to throw his receivers open. So, but yeah, he's there. So it's just like you said, the injuries. That's a big issue, and I do understand that.
Yeah, for sure. Tommy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Listen, at the end of the day, if you believe in the front office, you believe in Joe Shane, and you believe that they're going to get it right, then you believe in which player they select. Plain and simple. We can sit and pick guys apart, and we can say, this guy's 25 years old, this guy's had multiple injuries, but at the end of the day, this front office in year one of what was going to be a deep rebuild, a deep reset, not only went to the playoffs, but won their first playoff game in over a decade. So, when it comes to the draft, when it comes to selection, quarterbacks, whatever it might be, I have total faith in this front office to make the right move. Like I said, still a lot of football left to play to see where jostling and the posturing comes out and where they are. But I have total faith in that. I do have to jump off, Jimmy. I do want to say thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I had a blast today.
Of course.
The audience was amazing, extremely knowledgeable. I appreciate every single one of you. I do have a podcast called Tommy's Takes on the Giants Country YouTube. I do with Patricia Traynor. She's the Giants beat reporter. So if you can go hit that up, go subscribe. Subscribe to Jimmy Randazzo's podcast. Great show. Coach Ed has a great podcast. Big Dash has a great podcast. It's going to be an exciting finish to the season. And then once the season's over, we have the New York Yankees with Juan Soto and hopefully a little bit more. But thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Tommy G, everyone go.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Tommy. You are the man. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. Follow him on Twitter. When you see a Giants take and Tommy's on, you better go smash that like and retweet button. All right. It seems like a natural process that we switch over to, do we want to do some New York Yankees baseball? Is that what?
Over here, let's hear Coach Ed's take. He's mentioned that he's a Yankee fan. I want to ask Yankee question to Coach Ed why he's here.
All right. This is the Chris Kalis Show. Let's go.
I'll answer it as best I can, bro. Go ahead.
So, you see what Brian Cashman did with the Juan Soto trade, and now with Yamamoto. What's your thoughts on him moving forward? Are you okay with him as a GM moving forward? Has he satisfied your needs? And do you think we're up their way to compete with the Houston Astros?
All right. I have never been a big Cashman fan. I've had my issues. A lot of it, though, stems from his, and maybe it's my not complete buying in the analytics. I mean, I'm an old school guy where, I've always been one who, yes, you do have your game plan, you do develop a plan, and you do follow it, but sometimes you just got to scrap it and go by the seat of your pants. And, I mean, I've sat and I've watched the Yankees for years, and there were times that, look, yeah, you do go by the numbers, but sometimes you do make your adjustments and how is the game going. So, and I've questioned, well, why are we solely based on analytics? Because if you say you're going by the analytics, the opposition goes by the analytics, and they basically know what you're going to do. Yes, you do have your tendencies, but how do you adjust off of that? And, sports in general is to me has always been about how do you adjust. And if you're strictly going by what the numbers say all the time, then you make it easy for the opposition to be able to counter whatever move you're intending to do. So now, in terms of the analytics, I mean, I'm probably just putting too much emphasis on that. I'm probably being a little bit too emotional and not being more of a coach. But when I hear that, it just bothers me because that leads me to feel like you're not looking at the game itself and you're not trusting, what's going on the field, because sometimes a guy may have it and sometimes a guy may not. So, but that's my thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to start from the beginning, because obviously Yamamoto was yesterday, and listen, Brian Cashman does a great job with rosters. Usually, what he doesn't need to do is he doesn't need to start dipping his hands into the lineup. That's really when it becomes an issue, when he's, saying, because that has been a huge, what's going on right now. What really is going on is, I think when you start to meddle in 7 or 8 things, you're not good at one of them, right? It's like, okay, maybe the Jimmy Randazzo show is about New York sports, right? But when I'm start talking about the St. Louis Cardinals, we might start to, I might have, start to get watered down. So I think that's really when it comes to Cashman. I think he's done a great job. Listen, sometimes you have to apply pressure. What Yankees fans did this offseason is they applied pressure. And I think that's what it really comes down to. I did say, and listen, we could talk ball all day, but if I don't give my man Cole Seam 30 seconds to talk today, because he's been waiting for over an hour because we were talking Giants football. So let me bring up Cole today. Appreciate everyone. Obviously, Chris, you're the man. Shout out to Lukash, who had to go to work. And Coach Ed, appreciate all your insight. Yoda Yanks, we'll get to you in a minute. Shout out Javi, Big Dash, Amber, Dominic, Petey, Mike, Michelle, Issa, It's Longo, Kevin, Jill, Legacy. Shout out to subscribing. Austin Theory and Matthew. Appreciate all of you guys. Let's bring up the man, the myth, the legend. Don't worry, Yoda. We'll get to you in a second. But I would be remiss if I made my man, Cole Seam, wait another second. Mr. Cole Seam, how are you doing this bright afternoon?
I'm fine. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, it was fine, Jimmy. I was looking up flights to Tampa for spring training and hotel rooms for my dad and me. But that time, so I was looking up flights and hotels. Everything's great. I'm trying to book tomorrow, or end of this week about spring training. But with the Yamamoto, I understand what Yamamoto. Okay, yeah, okay. The Dodgers have Shohei Ohtani. The Red Sox have the Japanese player. The Mets have Singa. But I feel like Yamamoto wants to go to a team that he can understand and talk to. So because I feel like
I agree with you.
I feel like it may slip away from us, and I feel like are we going to? Okay, I know we need to sign more players than Soto,
Right.
and Verdugo, but I feel like why are we all fascinated with Japanese?
First of all, we're fascinated, I think, with players who play ball well. I think that, these players have clearly shown through the World Baseball Classic that they can play. I think it's important to bring in that Asian market. I know that the Yankees obviously have, considered it a huge part of their tradition also, bringing in these people. The Yankees Stadium is basically a museum now. I know that jersey prices are, scattered throughout, but that doesn't mean tickets throughout the 30 teams. But that doesn't mean that, that there are going to be Japanese people coming to watch the Yankees, go to Yankee Stadium, spend $300, spend $200 in the shop at Yankee Stadium, go on a tour, and do all those things. So I think it's important. I mean, when you can get like a 92, 93 overall pitcher and bring in money to pay for it, I think it's a slam dunk. And I think that just makes the most sense.
I think that this global phenomenon about the NFL being global again, I feel like that could. I understand it not gonna happen, but that could be a Japanese team that plays in the MLB in Japan, like at the Tokyo Dome. But I feel like
no. Listen, it makes the most sense. Listen, again, if it's a marketing play and we get a good player, I'm all here for it. Again, it's just the same reason we signed Soto. A lot of Dominicans are hype, like they should be. You know, my niece is Dominican. She's probably going to be wearing a Soto t-shirt. You know what I mean? So you have to think business and at the same time think about the people on the field. And that's it the Yankees do. They're $7.1 billion according to Forbes. And I think that's just what the way of the world. Any other questions you have, Mr. Goldstein?
The one player I really want is Lee. The left-hander, the left fielder, Lee, is okay. I understand we don't need a left fielder, but what if Soto or Verdugo or Judge goes down? We didn't expect them.
Yeah, I think that we have to hope and pray for 60 games that that all those guys can stay healthy. Giancarlo's gonna have to get a glove. Again, this is 4 years straight. Over 1,500 days talking about Giancarlo Stanton and his inability to play the outfield, but he's gonna have to pick up a glove sometimes. And Aaron Judge is gonna be playing center field. Verdugo, I've seen him in person play left field. Plays a good left field in Yankee Stadium. I really like him. I love that signing low key. Didn't have to give up anything besides Greg Weissler for him. I think the Yankees are going to be okay in the outfield. I really do. The thing that concerns me right now is starting pitching and the corner infield, the health of those guys, and obviously the catcher position, but also at the same time, you're going to let Austin Wells go with Trevino, and I think that's the 1-2 punch that they need right now. Great questions. Great questions. Yoda wants to talk. Cole, we'll get back to you in a minute. Is that okay? Cole, is that okay?
Yes.
All right, Cole, we'll get back to Cole in a minute. Just mute yourself for a second. Yoda, man, what's going on, brother?
Yo, what's up, Jimmy? All right, so we talking about the starting pitching dilemma in the outfield. Two things. The outfield, I've seen Verdugo play in person too, at Fenway and at Yankee Stadium. He's a phenomenal outfielder in the corner outfield positions, but the Yankees might want to keep him left-handed bat. If he puts up good numbers, they might want to keep him. But the thing that I fear the most is if he puts up good numbers, he's going to demand a lot of money. Like, let's say
You're talking about Verdugo?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's a 1-year rental. Obviously, the plan is Judge, Dominguez, and Soto for 2025. That is the plan. That's going to be the plan. So I don't think it really matters on Verdugo. But what they did do is they said, hey, listen, the Martian's hurt. Obviously, that was the saddest thing that ever happened to us because, how much we love.
I got his shirt.
You got his shirt. Great. Obviously, he's Verdugo unless he becomes this guy who becomes like, a Yankee loved in Yankees lore. We always know it's going to be Judge, it's going to be Soto, it's going to be Dominguez. Those are 3 outfielders going forward. And obviously we have, Stanton's contract, and that's really where it is right now. Everybody go to the top. Let's get some retweets going. Let's get some retweets. We only got 2 retweets.
I subbed on my alt account.
Awesome. Love that. Retweet the last tweet. Let's get them. We'll go till 3:00. We've been going since 12:30, I think. We'll do another hour, but maybe we should stick to, I don't know. We're doing the Jimmy Randazzo show on YouTube. That is the number one thing that we need to plug because it just is what it is. There's 50 people on YouTube right now. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Please go subscribe. If you can go subscribe, that'd be huge. And shout out obviously to my beasts in the Twitter space. And if you want to live in the Twitter space, just give me a subscribe on YouTube. That's all I'm asking for. Stay in the Twitter space. Everybody knows me from Twitter or for screaming at Yankee games, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Amber, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I saw your whole thought on talking about Rangers hockey. We'll get to that later. Obviously, it's a big week for the Giants and the New York Yankees baseball. It is what it is right now. But we will, shout out to the New York Rangers. I have my Mike Richter jersey ready to go when the Rangers are in the playoffs. But yeah, they're playing well right now. And every single time I watch the Rangers, they lose. So I'm staying away from them right now for the benefit of the Rangers fans. And then when they need me to come in during playoffs, I'll sacrifice some blood and we'll win some playoff hockey games. Yeah, that's what it is right there. So yeah, really appreciate you guys. I don't know if we want to talk about anything else. It seems like we're hitting a little bit of a lull, but I mean that's just the Tommy G effect. And yeah, I don't know. Does anybody else have any questions, thoughts, concerns? I said again, maybe we'll just go to 3:00. But I really appreciate everybody being on. Appreciate the chats and everything. It's a slow news day for the New York Yankees because apparently Yamamoto has to meet with two other teams right now. So slowly but surely we're getting it done. Coach, what's going on?
All right, with the Yamamoto situation, what are the chances of him selecting the Yankees? And do they also have that fee that they have to pay to, I guess, the Japanese team? Do they still do that nowadays?
Yeah, so they're gonna have to pay up for him. I don't really I don't know exactly how much the fee is gonna be. They post him, and then the league gets a percentage. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't think that's going to deter the Yankees at all from going out to getting him. Right now, I think it's a 50-50 shot they land Yamamoto. I think the other team is obviously the Dodgers. And I think the contract for Shohei Ohtani kind of screwed the Yankees' chances of getting Yamamoto. But what I do think it did is it helped them be able to maybe sign Juan Soto next year, because if you can defer money and tell Juan Soto, hey, we're going to pay you over the next 20 years. And once you're done playing, you go to Miami, your state income tax is 0. You're getting paid 100% of that. Now you're not only making you're not making $20 million after taxes. Now you're making $45 million after taxes, $50 million after taxes per year. So I think it helps the Yankees in the long term, but in the short term right now for Yamamoto, I'm a little nervous. I can't lie.
What is his projected salary going to be? Because, I mean, when you add in Cole, when you add in Judge, when you look at Stanton and their salaries, I mean, where's that pushing their salary cap, and what about the tax issues there?
Sorry, say that one more time.
What I'm saying is, okay, with Yamamoto, what do you expect his contract to be? X dollars over X amount of years, and then when you break it down per average, like if you look at Cole, what his average is, and Judge, and then Stanton, along with everyone else, where does that push them in terms of the tax penalties if they sign Yamamoto, along with I'm sorry, I forgot what's his name?
Soto
that they just brought in also.
Listen, I think what the Dodgers just did is they changed the game. And we were all playing Monopoly, and then they just found out, oh, wait, there's a new rule to this game. So I think that's...
Do you think you're going to be able to do that then?
You can do that with as many guys you want, apparently.
But now, doesn't that hurt you, the Yankees, in the long run?
Why?
Because you're still gonna have to come back and pay those contracts.
Sure, but also at the same time, $50 million today is a lot more than $50 million in 5 years.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Right there, we have Yoshinobu Yamamoto in the chat right now.
Copy. We'll get to him in a minute. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to do that bit today, I don't think. Maybe we will. Let's get to Rob. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate helping out, Yoda. Rob, what's going on? Rob, you there?
Yes, thank you. I don't know why everybody's thinking this changed the game. I mean, come on. I grew up in New York. You know, I remember a player by the name of Bobby Bonilla.
Of course, of course.
You know what I'm saying? So the Dodgers really didn't change the game. It's just, Ohtani.
You don't think they did, though?
Well, did Bobby Bonilla change the game? Because
Yeah, but that was just because the Wilpons were in so much debt, and they were like, right? Wasn't that the whole situation? The Dodgers aren't in debt right now. What the Dodgers basically did is they just looked at state income tax, right? I feel like, of course, Bobby Bonilla was the first. Bobby Bonilla walked so that Shohei Ohtani could fly.
Right. Said right. That's my point.
Okay.
So, that he was the one who set the precedent. And Ohtani, let's not forget, he makes a ton of money off the baseball field. They estimate 45 to 50 million annually. So his baseball salary is, and also the Dodgers still have to put in like a escrow account his salary every year. That's what they have to do. So, he's not getting it, but it still has to be put away in an escrow account, not the not the 70 million. So, for example, because of the interest and whatnot, there's still 44 or 50 million that's going to go into an escrow account annually to match his salary that he would get.
Yeah, yeah, like, listen, I think that right now, I think that this is like what happened with the whole Shohei Ohtani thing. I think it slowed down the entire process for everything. Because if I'm Blake Snell, if I'm Trevor Bauer, maybe Trevor Bauer is not a good example. If I'm Cody Bellinger, I'm going back to my agent now and saying, whoa, wait, 1 second. If I sign in LA or sign in New York, and I can make $4 million a year now, but when I'm 40 years old, I'm never going to have to work another day in my life. If I go move to Florida, I think that is very, very interesting for the entire, and that's why I'm saying that it's so interesting, because these players are now kind of like perked up, right? Wouldn't that make more sense if you're like Yoshi and you're like, oh, damn, that happened? Oh, wait, maybe I can make, I think his AAV coming in was like $25 million. I think he's going to get upwards of 31, 32, probably when it's all said and done, especially when you can defer money. And I think it makes sense for the team. It makes sense for the players. I don't know why everybody's so upset about it. Obviously, it doesn't help the clubs that, the clubs in the Midwest. Maybe that hurts those teams. But from a Yankees fan standpoint, obviously, other than the Yamamoto thing, I think it helps the Yankees a lot. I think it helps the Mets a lot. I think it helps the teams in California a lot, and all the places that have to pay a lot of state income tax.
Yes, it definitely does. And we got to add one more aspect to that. Where was I going with this? Oh, is that the Dodgers made off because there's things that was that's shown that the Angels off of Ohtani made a ton of money themselves. So now if that additional what they made, so basically somebody said that the Angels literally because of having Ohtani made $25 million annually because he was on that team. Now the Dodgers have that. So that basically, if they make that money, then his salary is pretty much free. You get my point?
Yeah. The Shohei Ohtani contract has affected everything. Players are now going back to their agents asking about deferred contracts. We're going to have MLB 40-year-old MLB superstars living in Florida in the future. Obviously it helped.
Might live in Japan where
Yeah, or that. Who knows? And the free agency process is at a halt. I just tweeted that. So everybody go retweet that because we retweet the ones that were in here. Okay. Like and retweet it. I'll send it up to here. And then yeah, we're almost at 3 o'clock. We've gone from 12:30 to 3 o'clock. I'm getting a little tired now. We got the Juan Soto thing at 4 o'clock. I appreciate everybody who's on YouTube. Shout out to Ralph. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Lukash. Shout out to Amber. Shout out to Coach, Rob, Javi, Big Dash, Chris, Lamb, Yoshi, Legacy, Haley, Jose. If you guys haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do it. Wearing my 1996 New York Yankees sweat hoodie, sweatshirt for good luck. But I think that the free agency process is currently at a halt. And it's unfortunate right now, but it is the truth of the matter, the fact. Any last questions, comments, concerns before we take a little bit of a break? No? All right. Appreciate everybody for coming on. Appreciate for everybody on the YouTube. You guys know who you are. I'm going to log off on YouTube right now. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And then obviously we're going to play some Mac Miller.